I'm Barbara Mancini of Philadelphia, and I support SB1076. I wrote a book entitled Cruel Death, Heartless Aftermath. It is a true account detailing how I was arrested and charged with aiding the attempted suicide of my dying 93-year-old father after handing him his legally prescribed morphine at his request. He was enrolled in home hospice care, and his pain was not properly managed, and he took much more than the recommended dose. When I told a hospice nurse what he'd done, she called 911, despite the fact that he was conscious, breathing normally, able to respond to questions, and able to follow commands. Police ordered paramedics to take my father to the hospital for life-prolonging treatment in complete defiance of his advance directive and against his stated wishes. He endured 5 days of unwanted medical treatment, which tragically included having his hands restrained. The anguish he experienced over my arrest compounded my father's misery. I endured a year-long prosecution before a judge rightly concluded that the charge against me had no merit and the case was dismissed. Now, my ordeal occurred in Pennsylvania, but similar prosecutions have happened in Connecticut. Those of William Meyer of West Hartford, Harry Kiernan of Glastonbury, Hunt Williams of Cornwall, and Thomas Meyer of Roxbury. And they have previously told their stories to legislative committees. The common thread for all of our cases was that the people unjustly charged with crimes witnessed their loved ones' end-of-life suffering and agony. My family started that day in one place, and an indifferent and unjust system took my entire family to a completely harrowing place. That injustice could happen to any member of your committee and any of your constituents or their loved ones. Competent adults deserve options and agency at the end of life. They deserve to have their wishes and values respected. So SB 1076 includes safeguards and peace of mind for the dying and their loved ones. I urge all the committee members to read my story and to vote yes on SB 1076. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Mancini, I just wanted to ask you quick questions. First, I'm so sorry about your experience. Do you think that the hospice system failed you in some respects? Because if the hospice knows that the person is suffering and if we can increase the medications, would that help?
Well, I definitely think the failure of hospice was a prime cause of what happened with my father and with me. And I don't know the motivations of the people involved. I have no window into their minds or their souls, but I can tell you this, that when I finally received my father's hospice records, as in my legal case, I was absolutely stunned by what I found. My father had been prescribed pain medicine, and the hospice personnel withheld it for 2 weeks. When I called the hospice and I asked them to provide some pain medicine for my father, the hospice team leader intervened and persuaded the prescribing physician to lower the dose of pain medicine to a fraction of what was originally ordered. And as a result, my father did not have his pain adequately treated. Even when it escalated, there was no change in medication ordered, and he was miserable. And the interesting part of this is that the prosecutor had to admit in a courtroom during my case that he had never read my father's hospice records. He relied only on statements from the hospice personnel. And I don't know if that was his motivation to obtain a conviction as by doing the least amount of work possible. But had he read that record, he would have seen a vast discrepancy between what was documented there and the statements from the hospice personnel. So there's no question that inadequate hospice care was a big part of this, and hospice oversight definitely needs to be increased. I absolutely believe that. Hospices must be held to the conditions of participation, which are the standards they're supposed to uphold in providing care to dying patients. That's a big part of it. But the other part of it is that we have to respect individual patients' values and wishes and not impose someone else's values on their decisions at the end of life. I believe medical aid in dying is a valuable vehicle to do that for those who want to access it.